Okay. By now you should have a good idea of where I'm coming from or what I believe. Okay. You do not have to accept it. You do not have to agree with me. But at least now, I think at this point, you should know where I'm coming from, what I'm talking about. Now, typically, I base everything out. I focus first on the teachings of Jesus. Now, I'm not avoiding the other aspects of the Bible. I was a huge Old Testament fan, and there's so much to be learned from the epistles, and you can't beat the Book of Acts. That's almost like a great movie. But I focus on the teachings of Jesus. Okay. Specifically, I get into Matthew 5, 6, 7, John 14, 15, 16. And you've probably figured that out at this point. If you probably figured as far as what I'm talking about is my idea of salvation. If you've already made up your mind about salvation, there's really nothing I can do to change your mind. You probably change my mind. We can just agree to disagree. If you are new to the faith, you're kicking the tires, you're window shopping, whatever the case is, let me give you a warning. Salvation is an industry. Okay? You can find a salvation that suits you. Okay? Something easier than the other, or something more of this, or in line of your whatever your belief is, or whatever the case is. That does not make it the truth. Okay? I could be wrong. The person next to you could be wrong. The reverend, your preacher, pastor, whatever you're going to, could be wrong. That video you saw on YouTube could be wrong. You owe it yourself, I say specifically, to go back to the teachings of Jesus and build your roots there, and then make your own decision. Don't take my word for it. It's up to you. Okay, it's your responsibility. I'll leave that at that. There's a verse, I've already brought this up many times, it's 2 Corinthians chapter 10. But it's a key verse for me, okay? Because it has a lot to do with that, dealing with the selfish thoughts. I'll read it real quick and I'll explain a couple of things. Here it is. Corinthians 10 starts out at 3. For though we walk in the flesh, we are not waging war according to the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not of the flesh, but have divine power to destroy strongholds. We destroy arguments and every lofty opinion raised against the knowledge of God, and take every thought captive to obey Christ. Okay, here we go with that thought captive again. Captive thoughts. Why is that important? Once again, that's where my sins are starting, with a suggestion, a thought in my head. Now, whether I act on it, whether I obey that thought, or I say, you know what, I'm not supposed to be doing that. We're gonna nix that. I got to focus back on Jesus. I got to focus back on the obedience. I got to bring this thought into the captivity of the obedience of Christ. Okay, I'm not to be doing that. Okay, these selfish thoughts, whatever the case is. Another thing, if you look at we're holding those thoughts captive. I'll go to my mom's tonight. She'll be making dinner. Okay, rainy night, business closed, we'll go to my mom's. The only channel they get anymore is Fox News. And so they have it on in the background, and the Tucker, what's his name, Carlson will have a bunch of liberals on and debate him. And my dad will go off on these liberals. And typically I would go off too, but I have to, okay, is this going to get me back into resentment, hate, anger, this kind of thing? Or am I going to have to control these thoughts when I hear these people say these stupid, ridiculous things? No, I have to hold these thoughts in captivity. Once again, to the obedience of the teachings of Christ. Okay. Another one is this does not happen to me anymore. Friends don't call me. But I used to get a phone call and say, hey, come on over here. I haven't seen you in a while, this, that. We're pulling a transmission, have a Harley or whatever, and got some beer and barbecue and all that. And I used to go to those things and realized once I got there, let's say if I was to actually take that step and go to something like that now, knowing what was going to be going on there the next few hours, I'd get convicted right off. Dude, you ain't going to that. Or get there and realize, oh, you don't need to be here. Especially with my past history. Oh, no, you get out, you run. Okay? Once again, it's back into holding those thoughts captive, holding those, whether it's my behavior, whether it's the next thing I'm going to do. How does this fall into the teachings of Jesus? How is this going to affect my transformation from selfish to selfless? Okay, is what I'm doing, what I'm thinking, what I'm speaking, how I'm acting, whatever I'm doing, is it building me up spiritually? Okay, is it building anyone else up spiritually? Could I be doing something out of selfish thoughts that is hard on everybody else? See, all these things they have to, can't let my guard down. Can't let your guard down. Okay, does this sound like work? Yes, it is. Welcome to the army of the Lord. But you get an idea. That is it's an important verse. I think if you use that as a filter or let me do that again. We destroy arguments and every lofty opinion raised against the knowledge of God and take every thought captive to obey Christ. Okay, whatever he has told us. Love your neighbor. Forgiveness, all these kinds of things, is what I'm doing. I need to keep those verses, that scripture in my mind. So as I'm going throughout my day, I would be doing that, and that's don't do the kind of thing. It's essential. I'll just put it that way. 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 3 through 6 or 7. Very important. Because if you look at it properly, it affects everything that we do. If we run it through that piece of scripture first, through those verses first, I think we're doing pretty good. See, once again, selfish to selfless. John 14, 15, 16. See how that works? Like that. Born again. Call it what you want. Regenerated. Out with the old, in with the new. You got to do. Love you. God bless.